My God, we found it. So, I had something completely different for this second chapter of the story written, recorded, and ready to go. Basically, in between when you last saw me and now, I did a lot of the various simulation things that you all probably do every day. I gathered a ton of resources so that I had a little of everything on hand whenever I might need it. I finally started upgrading my ship since the last run-in I had with pirates convinced me that, while still good, the sword needed a little extra kick to make sure it stayed as one of the preeminent fighter craft in the galaxy. So it's now an A-class with a ton of upgrades. I built a few bases so that I would have a series of outposts I could store equipment at and use as refueling stations, including one I call the Bazaar that was actually a lot of fun to build. I even went to the Nexus, did a few missions, and made a few friends along the way. Random travelers just hucked super rare trade items at me as well, so I'm now closer to being a billionaire than ever before. Finally, I used one of the iteration Helios beacons to find a derelict freighter, board it, and salvage everything I could from it to fuel my gnawing obsession to find Emily and the answers. But at the same time, I was also enjoying the journey, exploring tons of new systems, finding strange creatures, oddities in the eternal night of space. I even tamed a few as companions on my travels. It's always better to have a friend along with you after all. So yes, all of this had been recorded, and I was just fixing to put it all together when something totally unexpected and bizarre occurred. You see, there's been a mystery, a myth, in the No Man's Sky community from the very beginning of the simulation. There's a specific room you can find, both in space stations and the various buildings on planets, that shows a very specific star system. It's 3 planets orbiting a red star. One planet has 2 moons, one of which is in a retrograde orbit. One has a single moon, and the third has none. The 2 planets with moons are much larger than the third moonless world. This has frustrated and flummoxed many of us for years. I remember the first YouTube streamer I ever watched and subscribed to, a great guy by the name of Stat, that's 5TAT if you want to look him up, looked for this system for weeks. I myself looked for months, literal months, on my Twitch streams in 2017 and 2018. Feel free to go check out the VODs if they still exist. I finally got fed up with looking, so I put it on the back burner while I just explored and enjoyed the new story that had been added. So it was with no small amount of absolute shock that I was looking around for the next system to warp to a few days ago and clicked on an innocuous-looking red star, only to see the map room star system staring me back in the face. I found it. After 5 years, I found it. But that isn't the entire story. Here's what happened. So I was doing some exploring in between chapters of my new series, and I found something very interesting. You know how in certain locked rooms on space stations and on planetary buildings you can find the Red Star map room? I think I found the system, because you have 2 planets, one with 2 moons, one with 1 moon, and an unknown planet. Just 3 planets, 2 large, 1 small, and it fits everything that we know about that particular room. It's an uncharted system. It's around a red star, and the really creepy thing is this one's named Tucson, and that's where I'm from, and that's a moon, and we're going there. Okay, let's pause for a second right here because this needs context. The reason I sound so unmanned at seeing this is because Tucson, the procedurally generated name for this place, which you could see it was from the fact I cut straight from the system map with no planet names to a live view, is an actual place. We're so used to seeing incredibly strange procedural names that this probably wouldn't make many of you bat an eye. I did a double take though because I knew Tucson was an actual place. Here's a picture of it. It's in southern Arizona, about 95 miles from Phoenix and about 60 from the Mexican border. It's home to the University of Arizona, a Wild West set called Old Tucson, where a ton of westerns were filmed in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the Sonoran Desert Museum, and some of the youngest volcanically produced mountains in the continental United States. How do I know all of this? Well, I suppose I could have Googled all of it. That's possible, and you'd be forgiven for believing that, since it's an extremely reasonable assertion. But that's not how I learned all this information. I learned it because I grew up here. I was born here, in Tucson. And now here it is, in the simulation, in a system I personally have been looking for off and on for 5 years. So you'll have to forgive past Kusumoto for sounding a bit shaken. Well, it's certainly a lot greener than Tucson. It seriously creeps me out this place was named Tucson procedurally. I mean, I guess if you go with the theory of a million monkeys typing on a million typewriters, sooner or later they'll create the works of Shakespeare theory. It was only a matter of time until those particular combination of letters showed up. Ooh, silver. But still, it's very disturbing that this system matches that map room exactly, and planet Tucson is here. That's disturbing. I can't impress on you how uncoincidental all of this is. I racked my brain for hours trying to come up with a logical explanation of how this could have happened. Obviously, with procedural generation, the reasonable conclusion would be, well, with 18 quadrillion names, sooner or later those letters would have to be used in that particular order. Which I can totally get behind, absolutely, but there's a problem with this line of thinking. First, I've been looking for this system forever. It's always something I keep in the back of my mind, and I typically warp to a couple of red star systems each time I log in, just on the off chance, you know? Second, if you remember from Chapter 1, I opened with me going through a black hole. I was in Eisentam, but I'm now on the other side of the galaxy than when I started. No one knew that I had done so except me, and the simulation itself. This system is about 7 or 8 jumps away from where the black hole spit me out, so about 2100 light years, just around the corner in galactic terms. So it was sitting here, waiting for me to find it, and somehow knowing what I would do and where I would go. Knowing what comes next. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Third, there is literally only one person in existence that this concordance of seeming happenstance would hit as hard as it did. Me. This wasn't just a fun Easter egg. This was the simulation slapping me in the face and going, "Ha! Gotcha!" This feels less like random circumstance and coincidence, more and more by the minute. No, this was directed at one person and one person only, the only person that it would truly matter to, me. And that's a terrifying notion in and of itself. Those crashes with no ship. The other thing is when I came into the system, it said that there was an Atlas station detected, yet there is no Atlas station in this system. So I'm a little confused. Have to admit, I'm a little confused. But if you wanted a system to get my attention, you have succeeded. We've got 3 of these anomaly detectors. Let's use one. Holy crap, what is this? And here's another mystery, the Atlas Messengers. According to the No Man's Sky wiki, Atlas Messengers are incredibly rare things to find. And here they are. In fact, I find 2 in a row with the anomaly scanners, which increases the already long odds that this is all coincidental. Look at that. I've learned the Atlas word for no. I've never seen this one. Got infested planet. And over here we've got the planet with 2 moons. Although we can't see one of them. Small moon, and we've got another moon behind it. What the crap is going on? I'm going to turn that down a little bit in post. Atlas word for there. Okay. That's nice. There we go. I'll get a picture of this thing. That's 2 messengers of Atlas. In one system. Have to play this back and see if I can use the wiki to figure out what it's actually saying to me. planetary anomaly. Scrap, cadmium, phosphorus, cobalt. Let's go look at it. Got those hoops, but that's not a big deal. Burning crimson. No sentinels. Lots of other stuff, though. Salvage container. Probably should see what that is. Activated cadmium. More activated. Holy crap. Phosphorus. Okay, and there's a lot of good stuff here. Whoa. Hi. Didn't realize you could land. Lovely. Secret rainstorm. Guess I might as well while I'm here. Oh crap. Okay, okay. Ow. Right. Yeah. Totally take your stuff. You get the feeling you're being watched. Yeah, at this point I was probably jumping at shadows. Every time I turned around, I expected to see someone standing just at the crest of a hill like some sort of simulation equivalent of Herobrine. But I think, based on the circumstances, you'll probably forgive my overactive imagination. We get a third Atlas. 321-240-755-128-157. The hell does that mean? After surveying the other worlds in the system and finding that planet Tucson was the only real option for habitation, I started building a base. More than likely, this is my home for the foreseeable future, if not permanently. I mean, I grew up here. It's my place, you know? Even if the simulation version is a whole lot greener and more hospitable than the Sonoran Desert, where literally everything that walks, crawls, flies, or slithers is poisonous and out to get you. With the base constructed, I set about doing some menial tasks just to kind of get my mind off of things. I warped to a few local systems, did a few more ship upgrades, ran a couple of Nexus missions. I really want that Outlaw cape. But then I headed back to make a few more improvements. For the first time, I played around with the automated feeder and animal resource harvester, and soon had an interesting milk and berry farm going. If I'm going to be living here, I want to be as self-sufficient as possible. On the topic of self-sufficiency, I didn't realize how utterly outclassed my multi-tool had gotten. I figured, hey, it's A-class, so it's as good as it gets for now. Then I looked at a random A-class multi-tool at a space station and realized that it, unmodified, was literally 3 times better than my fully maxed out one. Since you can have multiple tools, I grabbed it and started upgrading it immediately. The difference was profound. Destroying Sentinels never gets old, and the rewards now are a ton better than they used to be. Unfortunately, I'm in an uncharted system, so there's no Sentinel Tower on planet Tucson, but just ridding the galaxy of a few dozen more is reward unto itself, in my opinion. This is a milestone in our search. Some of you might think, hey, you've found something no one really ever expected to find. Good job, let's pack up and go home. I am home. This is home. But it's not the end of our journey at all, merely the start. This isn't a reward for perseverance. This is a milestone on the journey. A marker and a message. I still remember what the original message was. It wasn't just directed at the ARG at the time. It was directed here and now, at this time as well as that. This is just another beginning. And that's why I need you. All of you. The coordinates for Planet Tucson are on the screen now. This is the place. This is the time. I need all of you here. I don't have the programming or game theory knowledge to find out all the things that need to be found. I'm not sure where to go from here. That's why I need all of you, everyone from the old CSD community, Bad TV, Anomaly Cat, Lysiria, Yurts, as well as my old partners in crime who looked for this for so long. Stretchy Cat, Guyver, Oni, Lily, Stat, all of you. I'm putting out the call to everyone within the sound of my voice that ever searched the simulation and wondered, get your asses over here. There's something going on I cannot solve on my own. I'm only a small part of it. I need your help. I need your perspective. And by the time it's all over, I suspect I will need your firepower. Come here, build a base, fill the meeting room. Let's make sure the simulation never forgets who we are. It's our sky. Forever.